honestly, I'm really happy to be here because I've always, had this, um, what do we say? Like, I used to see people inviting others. I mean, see, the thing is, being a podcaster, it helps you understand people in a way, in a more better way. So I
Hmm.
always used to think that even I want to, go on a podcast, I want to share my opinions, but it was very, how it is in India, honestly. Um, they have this thinking going that if you ever feel like getting invited on someone else's podcast, you need to have numbers. You need to be a celebrity. You need to be someone with a heavy following and everything. But what people don't understand about podcasting is um, it doesn't require to be famous enough, honestly. I mean, um today itself I recorded a podcast with one of my friend. Like, he is a mutual friend who is a music producer who produces music through FL Studios and everything. But I mean, honestly, he has just started. He's not even famous in the type of industry he's currently grinding and, working, for that matter. So lots of people have this misconception that people need to be famous in order to come on the podcast. So through our podcast, I'm kind of breaking that stereotype where you could say that we don't invite only famous people. Yeah, we do. We love having them. I mean, but it's not like we stick to inviting only famous people, because we believe in creating an impact over the time. Like, if something happens to me, God forbid, if I'm not there anymore, but the podcasts that have been previously recorded, if they are creating some kind of an impact, if our audience is learning through it, then my mission will be accomplished. I
Yeah.
would be happy that, yeah, I mean, my goal has been achieved, my dream has been fulfilled, my audience has received what I dreamt of before starting this podcast thing. So even I feel like sharing those stuff. Even even my audience, they ask me, like, you should go on various podcasts to share your opinions. We want to know your opinions, because um, that's what happens when you invite a guest. Your audience gets to know the other person, but what they don't understand is about you. In order to make your people understand, lots of work is being involved in creating those solo of videos that eventually I will be working on slowly. I've planned a lot of things right now, but yeah, I mean, I would like to thank you for inviting me over here. It's an honor to be here, man. I mean, seriously.
I'm really happy to be speaking with you. The podcast world is the whole world, and we need to make sure that everybody knows that. You know, so
Exactly.
right, you've already gone into podcast mode, so we'll get this started properly.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Pods Like Us. I'm Martin Quibell, known to my friends as Marv, and this time I'm speaking with Kunal. Hey Kunal, thanks for speaking with me today.
Honestly, man, I mean, thank you for inviting me on this show again. Um, I love being on other shows. I love talking, as you can see. But I just don't talk. I believe in sharing really important and valuable opinions, which could be important for people who are watching this podcast. So yeah, thank you so much.
Well, thank you for, reaching out to me through Twitter. That was great hearing from you and chatting with you on there as well.
Well, I believe if I had kept waiting for getting an invitation, I wouldn't even know if you had even approached me or not. But I don't feel bad about it, about approaching myself. If I ever want to, want to be welcomed on your show, it's like I am getting to know you. It's like the small collaboration wherein, I mean, today I'm on your show. Tomorrow you will be on my show. So this would be a small collaboration, a get together, get to know me or get to know you moment for that. So I'm quite happy to be on this show.
Well, I'll get my games consoles back out again so we can talk about gaming.
So
So, what was your introduction to podcasting?
so I'll just start right from the scratch. Okay. I Before podcasting, I used to live stream mobile games. BGMI, that is a Battleground Mobile India, which is especially made for Indian audience.
Yep.
And I used to stream that. I used to stream New State Mobile, which before coming in India, and before coming to Indian audience, it was earlier launched in abroad. I mean, for US and people who are living in New York or something like that. And I used to stream mobile games and like that only. But I also used to watch a lot of famous Indian podcasters for that. Like for example, Beer Biceps. There is another person who is an angel investor, author, and he's also a podcaster named Raj Shimani. So these are quite big names in the industry right now. So I used to watch them a lot, and I used to feel that if I'm good in conversation, if I'm able to make the other person feel warm enough, and if that other person is very happy to be here with me, then why not I start my own podcasting channel?
Yep.
So I met my current manager through gaming itself. I met him. I Before podcasting, I ran a lot of startups and everything. I ran a lot of esports organization. Eventually, they did not work properly because of low experience and no monetary funds and everything. So it did not work out that well. Then I I uploaded a video. I was in Delhi, India, and
Yep.
I uploaded that video called five tips for a healthy relationship,
Yep.
wherein I discussed a lot of points. Um, well, that also has a really funny story because I made a video on that, and I preach people to follow those things if you really want to be with your girl for a longer period of time, and you don't want to get broken up or something like that, then you better watch this video and follow those tips. But eventually, I was the one who did not watch that my own video and ended up breaking up with my girl. So yeah, I had a very rough experience through that. But coming back to the topic, I uploaded that video, and for 1 year I was clueless about the whole podcast thing because I was actually studying for that, and I was researching a lot, like how to do, what to do, how to approach people, how to approach guests on the show and everything. So I did that, and after 1 year, I being a gamer, I had already made some connections through gaming, through people who are into gaming and who are, kids, but having a really successful gaming YouTube channel. I mean, who are really successful Minecraft YouTubers.
Yep.
I approached Indian Minecraft YouTubers. I started from Spotify, and after that, I thought of giving YouTube a chance. I believe that YouTube, like when I started YouTube uploading podcasts on YouTube, my confidence has doubled, my knowledge has doubled. It has helped me in a very positive way compared to Spotify, wherein the reason I don't like uploading podcasts on Spotify, it's because it kills your entire confidence. I mean, if you keep on uploading podcasts on Spotify, um, you wouldn't be able to. I mean, you won't be prepared enough to face the real camera out there or the guest face to face. You would be nervous
Yep.
enough to face the
Yes.
people offline. So that's the backdrop of who are uploading podcasts on Spotify. I'm not saying don't upload. I mean, you can always extract the audios from the video and upload it on the Spotify for the people who love listening to it. But separately recording podcasts on Spotify, actually, it wouldn't help you. As much as YouTube is actually helping you in all matters. I mean, in monetary fund and everything. So I started uploading podcasts on YouTube. I uploaded my first podcast on YouTube with Clash of Clans and Brawl Stars content creator. He's an Indian content creator named Mr. AP Gaming. My first podcast was with him. Then I continued uploading lots and lots of podcasts, and here I am. I recently only I invested recently only I hosted an investment app founder, an Indian investment app called Decimal, which actually, if you do any kind of digital transaction in India, it's in India for that matter, especially if you do any kind of digital transaction, it would round off the amount that has been spent and it would invest the remaining amount in that app itself. So if you think that your money has been wasted, it is not. It is with you only. It is invested in the app, which you can use it later on for something better. So I hosted the founder of that particular investment app, and through him only I'm going to host many people who are having the really good amount of startups and everything. So yeah, it has helped me a lot. Podcasting has actually helped me a lot in changing my entire image.
Well, two things from that. Number one, I think you find that when you do podcasts, that it um, changes who you are in some ways. It makes you
Yeah,
more
yeah,
of an open person, and it makes you a person who can speak easier to other people,
yeah.
who find it easier to converse. Where you might have
Completely
had a
agree.
problem initially,
Yeah,
podcasting really brings you out and helps you
yep, yep,
to
yep.
discuss with people better.
Completely, I agree because see, um, podcasting, like in India, there are very, I mean, there are lots and lots of misconceptions. I wouldn't be able to name all of them, but I would name few. As I had earlier mentioned itself that people think that if you are a podcaster, if you are inviting famous people on the podcast, you are just trying to grow your channel through their audience, which is not the case here. Because what happens, see, if a person is an influencer and um, you know he wants people to know his journey, but due to some reason or the other he's not able to, so a podcaster becomes that particular medium through which his audience and the other people following that podcaster knows everything about the other person. So this is something which we on our show or through our show or through our podcast are trying to preach people that we are not trying to gain any monetary or any kind of benefit through it. Instead, we are helping you only, your favorite people only, your favorite content creator, your favorite guest, or your favorite person's journey. We are bringing that for you. We are helping you guys to understand that particular person in a more better way. So in India, there is some kind of misconception, but there are, in India, there are mixed type of audience. First audience is who would actually understand a lot about podcasting, why it is being done, why people prefer being a podcaster and having a podcast show, and others who, no matter how hard you try, they will have one. I mean, they will have only a fixed mind nature. They wouldn't change their mind. Well, that's difficult though.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to pick up on was when you were mentioning about video. Video works for your show particularly because, especially when you are, as we say in the UK, geeking out over
Uh-huh.
gaming,
Yeah, yeah.
and gaming is a very visual thing anyway. So video helps with that because it is like a visual medium.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you are not only a podcaster, if you're anyone for that matter, being a YouTuber or an influencer, if you believe that, see, I'll tell you the worst part of, what's the worst part of online world? I have started doing online podcasts. I mean, I have started doing online podcasts, but then I believe that online podcasts wouldn't help me reach where I want to. I mean, if we think of facing the real world, we have to get out. I mean, get on our ass. We have to get out in real world, face the fucking camera, and speak. I mean, we have to learn to talk. If we keep ourselves stuck in this online world, it will be very difficult
Yeah.
for you to face the real world. I mean, this is the only reason I don't do online podcasts, because it wouldn't help you properly. I mean, it doesn't matter if you have setup or not. It doesn't matter if you have Shure SM7B mic or a really expensive Focusrite audio interface. It doesn't matter, brother. It doesn't matter. All matters is you should have a really, I mean, only a good budgetable mic and your phone. That's all. Currently, we are recording videos. We do not have a DSLR. We are recording videos through my iPhone, which is 13 model. We are recording videos through that only. We do not have an audio interface. We use Audition audio editing software. So this is how we are running the show. We believe in creating an impact. We believe that being the host of the show or being the people who are running the podcast with Kunal show, I believe that not only me, not only my audience, I believe everyone should understand the importance of doing things offline. It helps you connect with the guest in a more deeper way. Tomorrow, that guest might help you pitch that person you want to. You don't know, but that particular person might be in touch with the person you want to invite. So, I mean, offline podcast helps you in a very deep manner compared to online. Online helps you connect, but not in the type in which the offline podcast might help you connect with other person. So I believe it does help you.
Well, yeah, I didn't know I was going to go here with this. Well, the thing is, I mean, what we have now with technology, being able to talk to people, I'm looking at you on the cam, you're on your camera, I'm on mine, and we're looking at each other this way. That is a great thing that has got bigger since the world lockdown. Okay, I'm going to say that since the lockdown, that's got such a big thing. The problem is that I think a lot of people are still weary or a bit scared in a way. I think they've got a problem because I think the COVID restrictions and the lockdown has caused people to be too worried in essence, as opposed to what they need to do is just go out there, talk to people, because there will always be these viruses, these diseases will always be. I mean, it hasn't gone away. It's still there. But you need to, that's how you get on in life. You have to take chances and go out there, meet people and talk to people, as opposed to just being online and listening to people, doing all these sort of things, which is great, but you're missing what's most important, which is the real world talking and being with people.
Well, I completely agree with you, and I will also agree. COVID has actually played a very big part, especially in I mean, all over the world globally. I wouldn't say especially in India because it did not happen just in India, and it would be foolish of me if I just claim India has been the most affected, which was not the case. It had happened globally, and I'm really very sorry for all the losses that have been done. But coming back to the topic, I believe that. Now that COVID it's still there, but it's not in that manner that than it was the moment when it had actually occurred. But now what the case is, it's not about people not getting to know people, going outside and meeting people, networking and doing all the things. It's because they believe in staying in their own bubble, which is eventually harming them in a way they are not in a way that they are not able to understand. I mean, I believe in I am from a defense background. My dad was an ex-Indian Air Force pilot, so I have had the opportunity of connecting with people globally, and it has been an honor for me, and it has helped me a lot. But people in like those, the reason why people do not like talking to other people is because they believe that they judge that person within seconds before even talking to other person. They will start judging him. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that. And first of all, you should talk to that person. You should interact with that person at least 2 or 3 times. Then you can start forming some kind of judgment. Because as I as I believe that the first impression is the last impression, which is actually true. You should give your first impression in such a way that the other person who is actually meeting you or interacting with you should come back, should be there for you, should be should love to interact and share things to you, and should be interested in sharing the knowledge with you. If that other person is not interested enough, then you cannot do anything about it. So there are very various cases. Now there might be some, like, as you mentioned, COVID restriction, COVID things, that might be some of the reasons. Second might be the other person might be bit judgmental. A third, the other person might think that, I don't want to expand my network area. I don't want to expand my connections. I am happy in staying in my own bubble or cocoon. So yeah, I mean, all these things. I mean, if a person is having all those things, he wouldn't be able to become a podcaster, I believe, because podcasting is nothing but connecting and networking with people and getting to know people globally. That's it.
So the most interesting episodes of your show that I've heard are the ones where you're chatting with people and you have guests. So do you have a structure for the show? What research do you do, and how do you get those guests?
So yeah, nice question, by the way, because I wanted to tell people about the research things, because there have been a lot of changes currently.
Okay.
When I had actually started, I'd started with my manager. Okay, and there were only two of us. Like, he used to help me with the edit. He used to help me with the editing stuff and designing the thumbnails and everything. At that period of time, as I said, that being a gamer, I had a lot of connections in the gaming community. So I approached them through a chatting platform called Discord. I'm sure you might be knowing about it.
Yeah.
So I approach the YouTubers and the creators through that particular platform. And some of them I used to mail them. I still mail them. I mean, I don't mail them now, but I am having currently my team has expanded. There is a person who handles all the researching and the email thing. But I used to check YouTube. I used to research on YouTube. I used to research on Instagram, seeing the numbers, seeing the content everywhere. And then I used to discuss with my manager. I mean, should I be inviting him or not? Is he worthy enough to bring on the show or not? So YouTube has played a big part. Instagram has played a big part. Connections, networking, as I said, that has played also a really equal big part in shaping up the career right now. But currently, I'm having a person who is helping me with the researching thing, who is helping me with the mailing thing. Like, he only researches the person. Yeah, I mean, they do share with me. I mean, the people they have sourced. And they believe that this person might be worthy enough to be bring on the show. And if I feel that yes, he is good enough, then I only tell him that, just go and mail that person, and if the reply comes, just let me know about it.
Great. So the recording and editing, then, do you not do that yourself now? And how is that done then?
Well, earlier, the editing and the recording and editing part I used to do. I mean, I used to handle the sourcing, I used to handle the recording as well as the editing part. Okay,
Okay.
like, after sourcing, I missed out the part of scheduling the podcast dates and everything. I used to do that also. But now that I'm having a person for each of those things, I'm having two people for the designing things, for the thumbnail designing things. I'm having a team who is handling the website thing as well. I'm having the person who handles the editing part, because now that I'm doing the podcast offline, we record the audio through that Audition audio software,
Yep.
and we record the video through the iPhone. And then we have to merge everything. So yeah, currently I'm having the team, but earlier I started doing it alone itself.
Wow, that's incredible that now you've built up and you've got like a team there. That's well
Yeah,
done.
thank you so much. I mean, touch wood.
Wow, I wish I had someone to do my editing.
Yeah,
So
I mean, someday you will, definitely. Someday you will. That I'm sure.
one of these days, hopefully. So, are there any episodes to you that have really stood out to you and you've really enjoyed?
Yeah, there was one episode which I um it went in such a way that I did not expect. I'll tell you about it. So there is a person, he's an Instagram reeler, as well as he's a meditation guru as well. I mean, he teaches meditation and everything.
Yeah.
His name is Divya Parmar. You will find that particular podcast on YouTube. I mean, it has gained over 2.9K views or something. But honestly, that podcast was one hell of a podcast, because I had planned to start the podcast or keep the podcast limited to social media trends, Instagram reel content creation and everything. But that particular podcast went on to become the best podcast of my life, because we started discussing things about spirituality, about life after death,
Yeah.
um about the physical problems curing by meditation. And there is a famous guru named Osho. I'm sure you might be knowing about him. He's a globally famous person. And there is a saying, I mean, there is a myth or rumor, I don't know, but he claims that he had cured his brain tumor through the power of meditation. That's it. I mean, we discuss about that as well. We discuss about I mean, there is a person in India named Neem Toroli Baba, and we discuss about him as well. How he helped Virat Kohli, how he helped Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, for that matter, in shaping up the career and guiding them to a right direction. We actually spoke about this, and eventually, in the end of the podcast, we spoke about Instagram reel content creation, difference of Instagram reel content creation and YouTube content creation. We spoke about that. But and that podcast, if I had not stopped recording that podcast at the correct time, it would have been gone to 2 hours podcast. I mean, that particular podcast is still one of my favorite podcasts, honestly.
Well, that is a sign that one of the best things is when you do a podcast and it is those moments where you think it's going one way and then it goes somewhere else. And
Yeah.
that is the great one of the great bits about podcasting is that when you do that and a conversation goes somewhere else and it makes it really memorable and it means so much to you when those things happen.
Yeah, I mean, when my video podcast or my audio podcast, for that matter, goes in such a way wherein I am having fun with the guest, or we are just discussing about something. That's the moment when the audience actually loves it, because they believe that I mean, I respect their decision as well. I respect their feelings and opinions as well, and they are right also, because the podcast shouldn't look like an interview. It should look like we are having an open discussion about some things, and we both are just sharing our opinions and points through it. It shouldn't look like an interview. If it looks like an interview, that's the moment, or that's what turns off the audience. And there might be some cases they would shut down the pieces and skip your podcast in the midway, which will be eventually a big loss for you, of course.
It's a bit like when I guested on somebody's show and they thought that all we were going to be speaking about was about the world of podcasting. And because they do a show that's all about the paranormal and occasionally goes into spiritual
Wow.
matters, I just started a conversation, just mentioned to him in passing because of me being a musician. And I said that about, because he just said, "Oh, well, go on then," because he said he wasn't interested in music much, but he said, "Go on then, let's hear what you said." And I said to him that when it comes to writing music or coming up with music, I said to him that you have to be open, in my opinion, you have to be open to letting that music come into you. And I said, in a sense, I look at creating music or creating most things as it's there it's there in the universe for you to be able to grab and get hold of if you're just open to receive that there and be creative using that to be creative with. So I was basically saying to him that music, in a sense, can be a spiritual thing where that's how you receive it. And I said that the music is out there, the thing is out there for you to just grab. And I said that if you're open to that, then the creativity is much more enhanced. It fulfills you a lot more. You forget a lot more from it like that. And he was surprised. And he said to me that that was one of his favorite bits in any show he's done. It's because I surprised him by suddenly coming out with something that nobody expected.
Yeah, I mean, That's what happens. I mean, the audience just sees what you are. I mean, see, when someone watches a podcast, they expect to know something that they do not know about the other person, or some to know about things that they do not even know about. That's why they watch podcasts. They do not watch podcasts just to listen to things that they already know. So that wouldn't help them understand the particular podcast, the or the theme or the topic that the podcast has been based on. That's it.
So where are we going to go to now? So the show logo, I love the show logo and the musical background and everything. How is that all? Where did that come from? Has somebody created that for you?
Yeah. The logo had been made by by my current manager. I'm having two managers. One who handles all the brandies and the business promotions and queries, etc. And the other one who he is someone who helps me all my offline podcasts. So the particular logo had been made by him. His name is Varat Shinde, and it had been made by him. The logo itself, and he kind of gave that logo a really subtle and professional look, and it's also a very simple look. It did not have a bit of a funky look, which which would turn off the or harm the image of the show, because we in our in our mind we had already decided and discussed that we should be serious and professional about the whole podcast thing, because if we are not able to be professional, we cannot expect the same from our audience as well. They wouldn't even be serious, they wouldn't even watch the shows. So that logo kind of helped us shape, grow the podcast thing. When I mean the logo was just 1% of it, but the logo, yeah, I mean it was pretty important for us. And the background music thing was actually made by a person. I had paid him, and it had he had made that video of it, which we eventually will be working on making another proper podcast intro. I mean, like every other podcast has. We are not having it currently, but we will be working on it. So earlier, I just used to extract the audio of it, and if it is a Spotify podcast, or I used to just extract the audio of it, or I used to just keep the video itself in the editing bar, and I used to extract it in the MP3 format. So that used to give us the background music that we need. That's it.
So, and now we're going to go to something I was really looking forward to. Um, since your show a lot of the time looks at gamers and that side of things, what would you say are your top 5 games?
My top 5 games, believe me, I do not like mobile games, honestly, because I grew up playing PC and console
Yep,
games.
yep.
And in console games, I played one game which actually required, a lot of mind work. And the name of the game is It Takes Two, which is a completely multiplayer game in which, you are a character who is just shrunk and and you became a or you become a chipmunk or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a miniature character. Sorry, a miniature
Yep.
character. You become a miniature character, and you just have to get out of that particular situation where you're stuck. And the second game that I had played is FIFA. I am an ardent fan of FIFA. I love FIFA, and I don't know my brother will watch this video or not, because he usually beats me in FIFA. And he's quite. I mean, he's quite really not quite. He's amazing player. I
Yep.
used to play FIFA. I've played FIFA 12, 13, 11, 10, 15, and everything. And the third game that I really like is NFS, Need for Speed, Most Wanted, Need for Speed Underground 2. I really love the format of Underground 2, because it kind of gives you all those, Hollywood vibes and everything, that you have to go in to reach somewhere. There is a photo shoot, you are flexing your car and everything. The bonnet is opening, the doors are opening in a way, in those manner, in upward manner. And it was very crazy to look at when I had actually started back in the year 2007 or something like that. And it was really unbelievable for me as well. The
Yeah.
fourth game that I really love playing is Cricket 07, which is a very old game, but
Yep.
it has a big nostalgia. I mean, every person in India could relate to that particular game because we grew up playing that game. And I'll tell you the reason. The makers actually misspelled some of the famous cricketers' names in there. Like
Yep.
for example, Tendulkar name was Tendehar. Okay, Sehwag's name was something spelled different. So that actually, caught our eye, and we started playing that game. Then in the Ashes thing, there was a movement between England as well, England versus Australia, wherein Shane Warne actually took 5 wickets. Sorry, not Shane Warne. Shane Watson took 5 wickets for his team, and that also caught our eye. So Cricket 07 was that. And the last I loved playing was WWE SmackDown, which
Yep.
I played on my friend's PlayStation 2 at that time. So yeah, these are some of the games that I really miss. And another game that I really loved till now is James Bond 007 Nightfire. No one plays
Yes.
that game, but that game is one hell of a game because it requires really sharp mind and really patient. Like you should be patient enough while playing that game because that requires a you should be smart enough. It requires a lot of mind work for that.
Yep. There are some really good James Bond games out there for
Oh,
people to
let's be
try out. Yep.
honest.
Such as
Yeah,
the Golden Eye game, for instance. And then what was
all
that
those
one?
golden moments.
Yeah. And then there was one the other year they brought out that had Sean Connery in it as well that I really enjoyed. I played a bit. I can't remember the name of it now.
Oh, it's
Need for Speed,
yeah.
and then other racing games like Burnout. That they always make me feel like I'm in the middle of a Fast and the Furious film.
Yeah, Need for Speed Underground 2 made me actually feel like that. You're, customizing your car. There is a photo shoot going on. So yeah, I mean, I used to flex a lot. I used to enjoy playing that game. I was an amazing URL racer for that matter. I just loved playing URL because that was the most easiest of races I had played. In drag races, my brother taught me how to play. It was very difficult, but yeah, I eventually cleared that game.
I remember my brother also got Rock Band, Beatles Rock Band, that game. And, because you have all
Oh,
these
great,
pretend
man.
guitars and pretend drums and that. And I always pointed out to him that I'm terrible on that game, but I can play the songs in real life on the guitar, but I can't play that game for the life of me.
Yeah, I mean, I never heard of that game, but yeah, I will definitely search about it for sure. Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to anybody wanting to start their own show?
Be open to everything. I mean, learn and be open to learning new things. Don't go with a fixated mind. I mean, I believe this is right. I will be doing this. Do not be like that. Learn from people, learn from things. If someone is trying to criticize something or criticize you or criticize your work in a healthy nature, yeah, definitely responded it with a healthy response. I mean, you can be open enough with that person, or if he is really understanding your show, if he's really understanding how you could make your show better, then you should be open enough to discuss that with that person. Be open to meeting new people, be open to listening. Firstly, you need to listen. You should be a really good listener in
Yeah,
order to become a really good speaker. If you are not a good listener, you cannot be a good speaker, because for speaking you need to listen, you need to process, you need to understand, and then you have to speak. If you're not able to listen only, then it's not possible. Then I would say that be fearless, because many people are there who are scared of something or the other. Be fearless, be a person who is up for a new challenge, up for learning new things, up for experimenting new things.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter if you are not able to invite guests. If you are not able to invite famous people on your podcast, work on yourself. Start making solo podcasts. There are millions of topics that you could find on Google. I mean, I would not suggest Google, because your mind is the best source where you can generate really brilliant and mind freaking and mind boggling ideas. Honestly,
Yeah.
lots of topics are there that I bring through my head instead of going on the Google. I go on Google for the research things, for researching the things that are required for my solo podcast. But eventually, I think through my brains only. I generate ideas from here only. I do not go on any internet surfing platform or something for that matter. So be open and be fearful in order to start your own show. You should be you should not let yourself down, because if you let yourself down, you don't be able to entertain the guest over there. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, this is the type of advice I would give to anyone who's starting the show.
That's good to know. So, where can people find you and get hold of you, Kunal?
We are having our LinkedIn page. You just go write podcast with Kunal, and you will find, or rather, you can type Mr. Production, so you will find the page. It's currently on construction. There are not many posts over there, and you can find us on our website, which has been revamped recently. My tech team has worked on it, so we will be deploying those. And you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube for that matter. So the best platform, if you really want to reach and connect easily, that would be on Instagram. Because yeah, sometimes I handle the Instagram, or I'm having the manager who handles the Instagram right now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for speaking with me today.
I honestly thank you so much for inviting me. It has been an honor. It has been lovely talking to you and sharing my opinions about the questions or the things that you asked. And I believe that the audience would be, happy enough to watch this podcast, and I'm sure they will learn, and they will go having a bag full of knowledge about things that we discussed today on this podcast.
Yes, I agree with you. I think so as well. Anyway, you can find Pods Like Us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads. And you can contact us through podslikeus@gmail.com. Also, I never say this, but if you go to themarvzone.org, you'll find all behind the scenes post about these podcasts that I'm doing. There's behind, descriptions and all that. And so anyway, thank you everyone for listening, and hope you listen again to another episode of Pods Like Us.